About now. And we should be live? Question mark. Cool. Okay. Let's give everybody a couple seconds here to hop on in. And then I think we are ready to, whoops, start recording here. That guy and that guy. Alright, you guys ready?
Yep, I'm good.
Let's do it.
Alright, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston, and going around the room we have Musum.
Woo! Hello.
And we have Mina.
Hi!
Let's just jump right into it because we got a lot of stuff to talk about in news stories for once. Musum, what have you been playing?
Okay. So I am just gonna drop okay.
I'm just gonna throw my mic.
Just gonna throw everything out of my lap down, and my dogs are gonna bark at the top of their lungs.
Yeah.
Yuna!
Dogs are gonna dog.
Sorry. It threw me off my game. What are we talking about? We're talking about video games.
Yeah.
The game I played the most probably this last month is Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2 Record Breaker. Gotta love those really long titles.
Yeah.
So I've beaten this now twice. I'm on my third run through it.
Wow.
The ending selection in this game is like the Shin Megami Tensei games always have a weird ending selection. This one feels weirder than most because there's usually an ending I can pick out where I can really get behind it. And this one is like, at first you're presented with the strong, the Darwin thing.
Oh yeah, like would you like to rule the world? And you're like, yes, with my iron fist.
Yeah, like the
law ending.
You're gonna recreate the world, and the might shall rule. Except they present it as a meritocracy instead.
Right.
And then you're presented an egalitarian society where everyone's going to be equal all the time.
Right.
And from there, you can find a couple more options. I found one option, which was just, hey, let's just try and go back to how it was before. Wasn't that bad?
That seemed okay.
The problem is the character going for it is like one of the weaker characters in the story. Not that. I guess this is one of my issues with the game. Like, they obviously kind of thought through in terms of trying to make distinct characters, but I really wasn't happy with a lot of the character development in the game, and none of the characters are going to be favorites that I will carry from game to game.
Right. Were they all was the development kind of shallow? Like they didn't really spend any time with anyone?
Yeah, they went for kind of the extreme stereotype characters, and they kind of tried to make them all a little wacky, and it's like, they're still okay characters, and compared to other games, they're great characters. But for what I used to getting from Shin Megami Tensei, they're not subtle whatsoever.
Oh, right.
In any bit of it. And it's... The main female lead bothers me a little bit, because she's kind of the shy, dainty, but like incredibly smart type. Probably my favorite female character is I think her name's Fumi, who's this hacker who literally doesn't care about anything else except computers and experiments. Like,
right.
All of her side story stuff is like, she's like, I need to test out this machine to figure out if I can summon a human like they summon demons. Who do you think I should use from your party? You could literally suggest someone from your team, and they will start appearing.
As a sacrifice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
She doesn't kill him, but she has a moral thing you can direct her through. I haven't tried making her. I guess I'm spoiling things slightly, but I don't think I'm just kind of spoiling choices. I'm not actually spoiling the results.
Yeah.
But in a lot of these, you generally are presented with a moral path you can go in one direction or the other. I haven't experimented with that enough to really comment on it too much because I didn't actually realize it was there till I was finishing my second playthrough.
Does it feel like the standard SMT, like chaos versus law choices?
They oddly enough, they don't have the chaos versus law in it yet.
Okay.
Like the first ending I did, I elected to restart the entire world from scratch. I did the kill the person in charge of the world.
Right. The scorched earth approach.
Yeah, and we'll go back and reset it. And did that, and that was weird. And the second time through, I did the... what the heck was my second ending? It was... I don't remember. Oh, well.
It's very memorable.
I had to kill the person who ran the world again. I get the feeling I'm probably always going to have to kill the thing. I guess I shouldn't. Like, I don't want to give away its name, but its name meant absolutely nothing to me when they told it. You know, like sometimes they'll say a name and it will actually be something from some famous lore that you're used to hearing, like
some Greek mythology. It'd be like, "Oh, you're going to go kill Odin." It's like, all right.
Like in one of the games, Loki was a major player and things like that. But the real fascinating, or at least something I kind of like, is the way they do Save Game Plus. Because Shin Megami Tensei games, you're used to always your Demon Compendium transferring over.
Yeah.
On this one, it awards you currency based on what you did in the story and whether you got a new ending or not. And then you spend that currency on things you want to unlock. And that carries over, like that's a permanent buy.
Oh, so it's like the Tales games do with their whatever points.
Yeah, I think it's kinder than Tales games. Because my first playthrough, I bought 10% discount on summoning from the compendium.
Ooh.
I bought the ability to take one of my demons with me into the new playthrough.
Oh, yeah. These are all good things.
I bought like 4 or 5 things, and like my second playthrough, I bought like 3 or 4 more, and I'm guessing within 1 to 2 playthroughs, I'll have bought everything they're offering there.
Wow,
and
that's pretty cool.
Like right now, my last playthrough, I carried over 4 demons from the end game into my new playthrough, which is
just unstoppable.
Yeah. This playthrough is going a lot faster than the previous 2, needless to say.
That's kind of nice, though, just so that way you don't have to slog through the same stuff.
Yeah. I wish they gave me a fast forward button, kind of like I think it was Persona 4 that did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I'm probably gonna get all the endings for that. Although one of them, I guess you have to max out all of your fates, which are your social links. In one playthrough, which is really hard to do. And I don't know if I want to stick to a guide well enough to do that.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like Persona 4's max S links, where it's like, okay, on this day you can only do this thing. Just follow this guide to the T, and that will happen. Pretty
much, because like you got to balance when you talk to someone with doing the story event with enough time that a character's not going to die.
Right.
So the second playthrough, I let one of the characters die, and it's like, it's my second playthrough.
Yeah, you'll be back.
You'll be back in the third one. It's okay.
I'll see you again.
But I enjoy that game. I recommend it. Let's see. I also started playing Pillars of Eternity again. I say started. I continued playing. I'm on the 3rd act. I just completed the Endless Paths, which is the 15-story dungeon.
Oh, nice.
The end boss of it, I'm just going to speak kind of around it. I'm not going to give away story details. But the end boss turned out, to me, to be impossible to beat.
Good times.
I know people have done it, but I got down there at like level... My party was a mix of level 11 and 10. And the max level in Pillars is 12.
Okay.
And I fought the boss 5 times... And all 5 times, he immediately killed my party.
Oh, wow.
It was like his first attack was like this earthquake AoE attack, and it literally killed all but one guy. It's like, and then he immediately hit again, and then that guy died. And like after doing it a couple times, I'm like, what is going on? So I Google it. I found out that there is another option to fighting it, and that there's a dialogue option, which is slightly evil.
Okay.
But after that, I was like, my options at that point were either A, I look up the console command for God mode, B, I bash my head against the wall until I figure this out for hours on end, or C, I just go do this other method. So that's what I did.
Nice.
And although I feel bad about the process, I'm kind of happy with the end result.
Right.
But that's about all I can say about that without actually getting into spoilers, so I won't. I will say, though, Act 3, like, Pillars has a problem with loading screens. And it didn't really occur to me until Act 3, when you're just constantly changing screens. Like, that end quest for Old Nua, for the Endless Pass, like, to get to the Endless Pass, first you have to go to your stronghold. So that's one loading screen. Then once you're in your stronghold, you got to go in a building. That's another loading screen. Then once you're in your building, you have to go down one floor. So that's a third loading screen. And then you go to the stairway shortcut, which will only take you down to X number of levels, which is a fourth loading screen. And then you go one more loading screen, and you'll finally be on level 15. So
jeez.
I had to do that 2 or 3 times to complete like that last quest. And each loading screen, like, it would be less offensive if the loading screens in this game were, like, a couple seconds long. But in Act 3, for me, on my i7 16 gigs of RAM PC is, around 20 to 30 seconds.
Wow. Are you running on SSD or sort of SATA hard drive?
I got it on a SATA.
Yeah, which is tough. I mean, games are big. You know, a lot of people are like, well, just put it on your SSD. Yeah, I can't. I have a tiny SSD because they're not cheap.
You know, if I had the money, I would totally buy a couple SSDs and just use them for my... Well, no, Steam can only be on one drive, so...
not anymore.
Really?
Yeah, you can just pick where you want to install it. You have to, like, set up a different library, though. There's a whole... I had to Google it when I did it. Because I had the same problem where, like, I installed it on my C drive, my SSD, and then immediately it's like, you can't install this game because it's, like, 50 gigs. It's like, oh, well... Oh man, I screwed that up.
Yeah, like my Windows drive is on an SSD, and everything else isn't. But it's, I don't know, it's an issue. Honestly, if I'm gonna upgrade my hard drives, I'm probably just gonna build a whole new machine, and I cannot afford to do that right now. That will probably be next year's trial, but I don't know, I'd still really like that game. Act 3 seems like it's going to go a lot faster than the other acts because there are nowhere near as many side quests, and it's just going to be a matter of me dealing with loading screens.
The true battle.
I got the strategy down in that game pretty well. I find myself skipping dialogue like a lot more than I used to, and I think that just may be because I took too long a break. So I care less about what people are saying. They also do kind of a mean thing in that they will quiz you over dialogue.
Oh, no.
Like, there's this one character called the Grieving Mother, and like her storyline beats are basically you'll see a vision of her in her head, either from her past soul or something like that. I mean, that's kind of the whole shtick of the game, is you're a watcher, and that's your ability, is to see people's past souls occasionally.
Yeah.
But in this one, like when you come out of it, she asks you about it. She'll be like, where was it? And you'll be presented with 3 or 4 options. She'll be like, here. And she's like, oh, no, that doesn't sound right. I don't believe you. And then I'll reset you to the start of the conversation.
Oh, no.
You're like,
that's the worst.
Like, she literally asked me what color the rocks were at one point. And I'm like...
And you're like, they're Alt F4. I'm out.
Yeah. And the worst part is like I Googled it, and there's no... Like, it doesn't say it in the strategy guide. No one is posted in their online guide. It's just like... there's so much to the conversation system. It's just... I
just need to know what color the rocks are.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jeez.
But luckily, it didn't kick me out of the conversation for getting it wrong. I just kept guessing and eventually made it.
Nice.
So let's see. I also played a game that I had never heard of, and basically, I thought this game was a game called Dungeon of the Endless. Wait, am I saying this wrong? Yeah, okay. So one of my friends showed me Dungeon of the Endless a long time, and I forgot the name of it, and I decided it must be the Shattered Planet game. So I bought Shattered Planet on the Steam sale for like $1.
Okay.
And it turned out to be kind of it's kind of fun. It's a good way to waste 5 minutes. It's I'm trying to think. I haven't looked into anything on it on the internet, and I barely read the text the game offers. But basically, you're a clone, and you are going around searching through this planet just to categorize everything for science.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of a roguelike in that you die and then you go back up and you're a new version of the clone, but the resources you collected, you can do things like increase your strength, and you can find pets and things like that. And there's I can't remember if he's an alien or a robot, but that hangs out on the ship, and you can spend money and you get weapons and items that you can only use during that run. So it very much encourages you to use anything you find. It kind of sucks though, because you find all these liquids and you don't know what they do, and so you can either just throw them or drink them, and maybe they'll damage or maybe they'll heal you.
Naturally, you want to drink them.
Yeah. The gameplay itself, it's on like a tactics grid, and everything moves based on you moving one square, right? So it'll be you and an enemy. If you move one square, the enemy will move one square.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. It's a neat way to waste 5 minutes, because you increase things. It does the whole thing that's popular among these indie roguelikes, where they have weekly challenges or daily challenges, or
right.
whatnot. And you unlock different names for yourself, and you'll occasionally find something like the way I got my pet was like you see in a hole or something with eyes in it, and how you interact with it, and depending on if you have the stats for it, determines what happens there. And I just happened to recruit a little pet, so that's cool.
That sounds interesting.
It's a game I'd really like to see on iPad or iPhone, and it may be already for all I know. But it strikes me as my type of mobile game.
Yeah.
And the other thing is after you land, after X amount of squares you've walked, the ground you came from starts corrupting for some reason.
Oh, wow.
And kind of infinite monsters start spawning out of it, so you're kind of encouraged to find the portal to the next world.
Oh, okay. Sort of like FTL with the advancing fleet, where it's sort of like you have to keep moving.
Yeah, actually, that's a good comparison. And I think I've made it 10 or 11 worlds in at one time. I basically made it to this sci-fi area where these guns immediately shot me because I've only had melee weapons, pretty much. All the shooty weapons I've found are all 1 or 2 shots, and I'm like, why? I'm never going to use this then, because I'm going to be paranoid I'm using it too soon.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a neat game. It is kind of cute graphics. Evidently, you unlock more avatars as time goes on. But it's a good way to spend a few bucks. So yeah. I don't know how much it goes for normally, but during the Steam sale, it was like 74 cents or something ridiculous.
How can you say no?
Yeah. Let's see. Also played a little bit of Massive Chalice. Not a ton there.
I think I played that a little bit. Did we talk about that last month?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You talking about it's what made me play it.
Oh, right.
I should get back to that.
Yeah.
And I remembered why I had stopped playing, because I was mad at the game because it made the family house I designed caber jacks for that run.
Oh, whoops.
But at the same time, it made me kind of learn strategies with the caber jacks.
Yeah.
If you breed them right, then you will wind up with shadow jacks, which can go invisible, or blast cappers, who can, they blow up like a 9 square range. They're kind of both of them are kind of awesome. The trick is most of the half the enemies in that game explode, so on death.
Yeah, which is
so you
maddening.
you have to push them away. So that makes it very hard for me to keep a lot of my caberjacks alive. But like having the stealth and having the blast cappers and the shadow jacks, I think are pretty awesome. The enforcers I haven't got a chance to mess around with yet, which are the other breeds of them. And the other problem I ran into is because I was using my family house, suddenly I realized I only had members of my family around.
It's a real multi-generational crew.
Oh, this is an issue. Everyone's going to be inbred now.
Could be a problem.
So, and then I started a new game, and then it made my guys alchemists, which I wanted them to be even less than caberjacks.
Yeah, yipes.
Didn't play again. But I don't know. I like that game. I downloaded it for Xbox One. I've been meaning to try it out because luckily I got my Xbox One when it was still free for gold. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
Played a tiny bit of Warframe. I just like right now I'm with Warframe. There's stuff I could do, but nothing I want to do in it necessarily.
Yeah.
I just went and ran an Arcwing mission, which is I guess I ran a couple Arcwing missions, but they're the space combat ones, and I really like the Arcwing I'm using now, which is Itzal, which is a Arcwing where like one of my powers is I teleport, another one of my powers is I turn invisible if I stay still, which is utterly useless. The thing I like about the Arcwing missions is they have like the speed of like what's that game? That mech game for PS2, Zone of Enders.
Oh, okay.
It's as fast as Zone of Enders. Which unfortunately means in some cases it's really easy to crash into things.
Yeah.
But they don't really punish you too hard for it. There's just not enough of it. There's virtually like the only story missions available for Arcwing are the ones I've already done, and they were terrible anyway because they were the interception missions, which are okay, here's 4 King of the Hill spots, now take them all over at once, and no one wants to do those, so you typically go in and you're like, oh, I'm the only person here and I lost.
Right. Well, crap.
Yeah. But let's see. And last I played Destiny. 2 of my characters are at 34. I think I'm done with Destiny.
Yeah, I haven't played it probably since we actually you and I last played, I think.
Oh wow, that's a
which
long
is like
time.
3 weeks ago or something. I kind of got to the point where I realized I think I've done everything that I want to do in that game. You know, I can keep running the raids and I can keep kind of farming for the last couple of exotic pieces I really want, but at that point I haven't really been playing anything else in general, so maybe I'll go play something else other than that. So
yeah.
Sorry, Destiny. I'll see you in September.
Yeah, pretty much.
Taken King will bring you back.
I'm kind of at a weird place even with the Taken King, where I almost want to know everything they're going to add to it. Like, and also I really want to know what those exotics are going to be in that $20 package. So
I broke when they showed the collector's edition, just like I thought I would. I was like, no man, I don't know. I'll see how cool it is. And the collector's edition has, you know, a book with a hidden compartment inside that has a replica strange coin. I was like, okay, you got me.
Yep.
All right, you got maps and charts and schematics, and yeah, pulled me right in.
I am pretty negative now when it comes to physical merch, unless it's Shin Megami Tensei, because I have too much.
Yeah, I mean,
too much.
I'm not at that point yet.
I have boxes of toys and things that I literally have nowhere to put them. And that's kind of like every time I have a friend who's like, you need to buy the geek box or whatever, the thing.
Oh yeah, I don't have room for any of that stuff.
Like every time they show me that, they go to their desk, pull open the bottom drawer, take out a box. This isn't this cool. I'm like, you're hiding it. You have nowhere to put it either.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that is all I played.
All right, Mina, what about you?
So I've played a few games, but none of them are RPGs except for one. And since we talked about collector's editions,
Ooh.
here we go. Fancy.
For you audio people, she's holding up Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward.
Yeah, the collector's edition of it.
Shiny.
So I've played quite a few MMOs. I've been there for quite a few expansions. You know,
you've put in your time.
Put in my time with a lot of them. So when I say that this may be up there in the top 3 best expansions I've ever experienced.
Wow.
Like, just right out of the gate, and just absolutely has me enthralled to see what is coming. I am not exaggerating. The only other time I think possibly better was World of Warcraft, when I really liked Cataclysm.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Maybe that one. Lich King, actually. You know, those two were pretty close. So, you know. But this... if you like Final Fantasy and you are a sucker for nostalgia and a sucker for just Final Fantasy sort of stuff, this expansion was really good. Now, I have to warn you, in order to experience the expansion, you do have to go through the entire main story before it'll even let you through to get to go to the new area.
I guess that kind of makes sense, because 14 is supposed to be really story-focused, right? It
is the most story-focused MMO I've ever seen. It is. They really, really want... I mean, there's so much effort put into cutscenes and voice acting because it's Square.
Yeah.
Because it's Square, and they kind of want to become a movie company, but like, they're chained down by the video games. Yeah. But anyways... They have built a beautiful universe, and by the way, DirectX 11 makes this game look really fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen some of the DX11 stuff, and it is nice.
It is nice. It's actually a little jarring when you go from some of the old zones to the new zones. It's like you go from the old zones, like it's still pretty good because, I mean, Square does a good job making zones look pretty. Mm-hmm. But then you go to the new zones and you're like, whoa, this looks so graphically gorgeous. It's like eye porn. So anyways, it's gorgeous. And of course the new zones all incorporate flying. So another jarring thing is you're so used to, you know, you get on your chocobo and you just take flight or whatever, and then you go back to the old zones and you just instinctively want to press the space bar to start flying, and your chocobo just kind of flutters its wings and falls to the ground. It's like, oh, great, you can't fly back here.
Sorry, buddy.
So, where do I even go? Because the story was so... I'm really happy that they've brought in two I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there's 2 Final Fantasies that they really like did a precision strike on the feels.
The nostalgia engine really ramped up there.
I remember I don't know if this is probably a spoiler, God, but I know Boston will probably never play this because he's gonna stay away from it. But so if you don't want to know about this, you know, skip 1 minute ahead.
Spoilers coming up.
All right, I got to this dungeon, and they called it the library, the Great Gabul Library or whatever. I'm in the library. I'm just, you know, going through this library, bookshelves and stuff, you know, everywhere.
Sounds familiar.
And I fight this giant book or whatever, and then as I'm traveling down the staircase, a book falls to the ground, and it says page 63. And a little head pops out of the book, little blue demon-y head pops out and is targeting me with like a little beam, and then I see level 5 death.
Yes.
And I was like, no! Destroy the book! And suddenly I realized what library I was in.
My favorite.
And Byblos is in this dungeon.
That's amazing.
Blew my mind because he's standing on his
14.
So
Thanks,
like
Mina.
the entire the entire dungeon is a nod to Final Fantasy V right there, and it was
That's
really
awesome.
good. There is a.
Do they pay homage to a lot of those games through music, or is it kind of
everywhere?
New music. Oh, okay.
Everywhere. So, like for example, the Magitech armor. They incorporated the Magitech armor in the game. You can get it through a story mission or whatever. When you hop on it, do you know what song plays?
Is it Terra's theme?
You're instantly taken to Terra's theme.
And you're just like, yes!
And it's just like, oh my god, I'm feeling something right now.
They are just playing us like puppets.
But really, and I would not spoil this. I'm not even gonna. If you watch a video of it, you'll get spoiled. But the final thing that happens in this expansion, I don't think there's a single person who played it that wasn't just like, oh my god, having a heart attack right now. Oh my god. Losing it, and I'll spoil it for you guys later, but not on the podcast. But
how long was the story stuff in there? Kind of like the main quest.
You know, the real tragic part was that I knew that people were skipping cutscenes, and I was like, you are missing out on probably.
You're missing out on Final Fantasy 14 there.
Because even though it's an MMO, the entire story part of it was pretty much a solo experience, and I mean, you almost felt like you paid for a Final Fantasy game, like a single-player game. Yes, there were the silly kill quests and stuff, and a little bit of grinding here and there, but I mean that's Final Fantasy and MMOs.
Yeah.
So. I believe when they said that it was the same amount of length that they put in the original A Realm Reborn, like length, I agree with that. It's the same length. And the way they're handling patches is like pretty much every 4 weeks you can expect a patch of new content to come in, more story, because they've always been really good about that. It's just like feeding you little bit and bit because like I said, they really want you to experience the story. They don't want people to skip cutscenes, so they're not giving it to you all at once because people will just breeze right through it and just go, I don't care about the story, I don't care about the cutscenes, I gotta hurry.
Yeah.
So, I spent, I believe, like the fast people who were really crunching the time in took 3 days, and that's with them taking off work and just putting their nose to the grinder and just working at it. There's still people who I see in my free company in Lake Shell who are not yet all the way at the end of the story. They're still working on it, and it's been out. Early access was like the 19th, and the launch was actually the 23rd.
Okay.
So it's pretty decent. Some of the fights are just so good in terms of mechanics and just like it's really good. I really feel like this is one of the best experiences I've ever purchased. The story was all in all really good. I can't say anything bad about it really. If you played any of the A Realm Reborn, the jobs changed around a little bit. As you get in higher levels, you'll see how your classes have become more evolved into one way or another. Some classes changed really extremely, and some only minor tweaks to fix the problems with the classes and jobs. You know, take it or leave it. Some people are happy about their changes, some people aren't. I'm happy.
Yeah,
but
that's how it always goes.
It's because my job was completely buffed and 0 nerfs, but
nice.
You know.
Which job are you playing?
I play Summoner.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and the reason why it got fully buffed was taking a look at it objectively, and I'm not saying this from a biased standpoint at all. This was universally accepted as, yes, this is true. Summoner was the weakest job, did the least amount of damage output. and it's also tied to the Scholar class. So whenever you leveled Scholar, you were leveling Summoner, and they both have tie-ins to each other's spells. Scholar's a healer, Summoner's a DPS. The biggest problem was because they shared a lot of abilities, was if they made the Summoner's DPS too strong, they would also enhance the Scholar's ability to be a DPS. And so then you would have people picking up Scholar because why pick Summoner when a Scholar was a healer and a DPS and it did really good. So they tried to resolve that in what we're calling 3.0 or Heaven's Ward. And I feel like they did a really good job because Summoner feels pretty potent.
Nice.
Feels pretty strong now.
I mean, that's kind of what you want that class to be. I mean, you want it to be this like high MP, high damage class.
It is definitely gone from being a really small hitting damage class to a really powerful scorched earth all around
clearing.
Yeah, you know, that's how I always wanted it to be honest.
Yeah.
It used to be more kind of single targeted nukes, but really small nukes, and now it's just attack everything, destruction everywhere, blow everything up. It's fun.
Nice.
So at the end of the day, it's an MMO, and if you're not down to get into an MMO, you will not want to play A Realm Reborn. It's a really good MMO. I mean, I did play World of Warcraft. The latest one, is it Warlords of Draenor?
I think so, yeah.
And I mean, it was fun, but I was kind of underwhelmed, and there were some problems with Warlords. I don't think I felt so invested in the story. And maybe the nostalgia helps when you're playing A Realm Reborn, where suddenly they're throwing like every Final Fantasy at you, and it's just kind of like they're hoping to hit one of them. You know,
you played
like,
this one, right? And it's like, yeah, I did.
Which one? I mean, I'm gonna throw you some Baron equipment at you right now.
Oh,
how's
geez.
that? And now I have a little Kane minion following me around, and I'm just like, I'm so happy right now. I'm turning around, you know, Kane with me.
That's awesome.
So, and they're doing, they have a cash shop too, and I've bought everything off the cash shop because I'm bad, and because I can't help myself. They do the cash shop exactly like what Blizzard does, where there's the in-game items, and where they make the real money is that if you want to change your character's race and stuff, you buy Fantasias, and I have to like change how my character looks every now and then, and I gotta slap down the money, you know?
Yeah, can't keep the same old, same old.
Nope. I don't know. If you guys are interested in more about a Realm Reborn or 3.0 or 2.0, or want to join on my server and come play with me and have blast, I'll make sure to put a post on the forums and give you a recruit a friend invite. It gives bonuses to the both of us, and I mean, I'd love to have more people come play with me because it's a lot of fun. And they made sure to go back, and if you're feeling like, wow, it's going to be a long time to get to where she is at the end game, they boosted experience points for everywhere in the old areas by like 100%.
Oh wow!
So like, people are just like zooming up the levels.
So it's like starting
quick.
WoW from level 1 now, where it's like, hey, I just killed a boar and now I'm level 20. All right.
Yeah, so the experience points really kicks in. And plus, if you do the friendship invite thing, you also get a band that will help you level up to, maybe it's 20 or something now, really fast. Like, it gives you even more experience points if you have it.
Wow.
So, yeah, there's a lot of benefits to that, and I mean, I don't mind taking the time to fill out the little Moogle applications. That way you can get these bonuses. But that's all I've been playing RPG wise.
It is the season of the 4-Job Fiesta, so I've started my first run here. I usually pick normal runs to start off with. And I figured out this year I'm not going to pick Chaos Run because that sounded like it started off like a disaster. So I decided to start a random run. And immediately, my first job was Thief, which is a living nightmare. So that was a really rough beginning. I managed to make it through by the skin of my teeth, and my second class was Knight. I was like, okay, well, now I have the opposite problem, but no healing. Managed to make it all the way through that, and got Ranger as my third job, which is interesting because I've never played as that class before. And then fourth class was Blue Mage. So I am... the only healing I have is Vampire, which is not a bad thing, but I am just kind of cruising right through that game until I have a boss that can hit everybody at once, and then that is a total brick wall. So I just managed to finish World 1, which those bosses were easier than I was expecting them to be. And I'm kind of into World 2, and I just do the Moogle Forest stuff, so I'm moving pretty quickly, but it's been such a strange run this time. I'm hoping that I kind of continue to have good luck through the entire run, but I kind of feel like with my party, my luck is going to run out at some point. I don't know when that is. I'm sort of worried that it's going to be the first X-Death fight in World 2, since that is the hardest boss in the game, but I don't know. But Final Fantasy V is still really good. If anybody hasn't started the Forge Out Fiesta this year, it doesn't end until August 31st, so you still have plenty of time. Go play it. It's great. I keep trying to start The Witcher 3, but every time I go to start it, something horrible happens, like either in my house or in my personal life, so I'm going to put that game down for just a little bit, and wait for things to settle down a little bit before I pick that back up. But boy, that first 20 minutes seems really good. Some real good stuff at the beginning of that game. And I think it was on TVGP last week, I think it was. I was kind of lamenting that I didn't have anything to play on my DS, because I really felt like laying down and playing a game, which sounds like the laziest thing ever, but... so I figured, why not pick up Bravely Default again? I never finished that the first time, and somebody was talking about it again I think on GAF the other day. I was like, you know what? All right, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to finish Bravely Default. And I hopped right in the game, and I had no idea where I was. So I started Bravely Default over again. And in like the last 3 or 4 days, I've made it, excuse me, all the way from the beginning to beyond where I was before. I hadn't finished the Fire Crystal before. I just finished that earlier today, and I'm making my way to the Earth Crystal now, so I should be finishing Chapter 4 hopefully today. And man, if there's anything that can almost perfectly scratch that Final Fantasy V itch, it really is Bravely Default. And there's just, Kerntoni from the community and I were talking about Bravely Default when I was streaming Final Fantasy V yesterday. And there's just so much stuff in there that I wish so many other JRPGs had, like being able to fast forward the battles. So like just normal battles, I just want everybody to attack, and they're going to do it at 4 times the speed. Like I know I can kill these dudes. Let's just get the job points. Let's get the experience. Let's keep moving. I like being able to change the encounter rate. I think that's always super great, especially for grinding. I'm playing it on easy this time. I had a lot of fun last time playing it on normal, but I didn't feel like... Normal isn't that difficult, but it's enough of a challenge that you can't just kind of sleepwalk through the game. You need to you need to pick your party correctly. You need to have all your spells. You need to have everything in order. I didn't really feel like doing all of that again for the beginning of this game, because I did that before. And man, easy is really easy. I think it gives you extra experience and extra job points. And enemies do less damage. They have less health. I mean, everything kind of across the board is pulled down. So I'm kind of enjoying the story instead of having to struggle through some boss battles, or kind of, you know, hanging on the end of boss battles by my fingernails there. I am really interested. I know there is something coming up in the story. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody because I don't know what it is, but I know there's like this fabled at post chapter 4 thing, and I think I have an idea of what's happening in the story, and I don't know how I feel about it yet, which is kind of why I want to get past all this stuff so I can figure out what's happening. Because I really legitimately do like all of the characters in this game. I feel like it really takes a page from Final Fantasy V, where I really like how all of the villains, the characters you get your jobs from, are all these like larger than life, like big goofy cartoon characters. And I kind of like that some of them are doing horrific things, but it's all kind of fun and over the top. So you never really feel too badly for murdering them, because usually they're murdering hundreds of people also. Bravely Default is really good. I'm excited to kind of finish it, because Bravely Second seems to be ready to release in Japan next year, so hopefully we'll get that here in 2016. But I mostly just want to see. That's one game I haven't gotten spoiled, and I feel like I should probably finish it for myself before somebody spoils it for me, which is kind of crazy. I don't know, but yeah, Bravely Default is super great, and I'm really looking forward to finishing this episode. And I had to stop in the middle of a boss fight, so I got into this. I got into the place where the Earth Crystal was, and there's this boss battle right at the beginning. You sort of fight them numerous times throughout the game. It looks like it's the time when you fight them for real, and I was like, oh no, PUP. So next month I'll talk about that. I won't remember, but that's all I've been playing, so let's take a break. It's in my throat here. It's killing me.
Oh man, you guys cannot let me forget about what the final thing in Final Fantasy 14 was.
Let me make a
Can't
note.
let me. Don't let me forget, because I need to tell you guys.
Final FF14 spoiler.
Yes.
Underlined.
Quite possibly the greatest boss fight I've ever had.
Oh man.
In any game ever.
I'm really excited to finish Chapter 4 in Bravely Default, though.
Yeah.
I need to know.
How... Is this the farthest you've ever been?
Yeah, because before I didn't even restore the Fire Crystal. So, like, the last thing I did was... spoilers for anybody that hasn't played Bravely Default by this point. Last thing I did was raised Grand Ship, and then scooted that over to where the Earth Crystal was. And I'm fighting Victor and Victoria right now.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm super close.
I don't want to spoil anything, and I won't.
I
Make sure
appreciate
you
it.
save. Make sure you save in case you mess up. And
I am
Get
so
back with me.
addicted to saving in every JRPG. Like, I will save when I get out of a place, and then save before I go into the next place.
multiple save slots.
Oh, they do have
Even.
multiple saves, right?
If it does, make sure you're saving
think they
multiple
do.
save slots.
Okay. Oh So excited.
I will not spoil anything until you get to the thing, and then you start asking questions, and I'll give you answers.
Okay. I'm just... The thing that drove me crazy about the game is I was really, really enjoying it until you activate the fire crystal, and then there's this horrible, like, back and forth fetch quest where it's like, go back to this, and then go back to here, and I'm just like, oh my god. Please,
I hope
no.
you can bear with it.
Yeah, I know there's some stuff coming up afterwards. Oh, I just want to get to it.
I too have not beaten it.
Oh, that's right.
I too have not beaten it, but I know everything because I got to a point where it's just like, just show me the final video, please.
Yeah, I'm out.
I don't. Bye.
That's why, like, that. I probably wouldn't have gone back to it if they hadn't announced that Bravely Second was actually happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they fix my problems in that one.
I'm sure they will. I think everybody had the same... You know, when everybody's like... Whenever you ask anybody about Bravely Default, they're like, yeah, it's great. I mean, until after Chapter 4. Like,
and then
it's, you know, Bravely Default.
So unfortunate, because you're having such a good time.
Yeah. Then it turns on you.
Turns.
In some way. I don't know.
Not telling you.
I appreciate it. All right, you guys ready to knock out the second segment here?
Let's do
it.
All right, let's talk... Getting ahead of myself. Ready for Bravely Default. All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about RPG releases for July 2015. Our No Search Plus comes out on the Vita on the 2nd, so I guess it's technically out now. Go get it. More RPGs on the Vita. Never a bad thing. And Suikoden 3 is out on PSN. I own that for PS2. I have played it, and that game is weird. I know a lot of people love it, but Suikoden is a very strange series. You play as a talking duck. So... Suikoden 3. never really got into it. All right, let's move on to news stories. E3 happened. Surprisingly, unlike years past, we have a lot of RPGs to talk about.
A lot.
Let's just talk about the elephant in the room, the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Let's just get this out of the way right at the beginning.
So I get to be the one person excited about this here, that they're changing all these things to make it more adult and realistic looking, and it'll have my pre-order.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for it to see. Final Fantasy VII is certainly not my favorite Final Fantasy game. I'm excited to see what they do with it. You know, like what do they keep and what do they throw out? You know, I feel like, you know, Square is still saying that they're making the they're porting the PC version of Final Fantasy VII to PS4, so we'll have like the old version, you know, classic Final Fantasy VII around, but I don't want them to change that much. You know, they're saying like, oh well, there's no new characters, but there is more realistic gameplay, and I was like, does that mean you're getting rid of turn-based? Like, because if you're getting rid of turn-based, I don't know.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they are going to modify it to work however Final Fantasy 15 works, except you're going to have the materia system in it somehow. The materia system is the main thing I'm worried about them ruining.
Yes. I feel like that's the thing you can't lose, but I feel like they're going to keep it, but like keep tweaking it too much.
Story-wise, I think we're going to lose all the things that require chibi, the semi-chibi sprites.
Sure, or like the dolphin jumping minigame.
So, no dolphin
CPR
jumping,
minigame.
No marching, no CPR. Honestly, I bet we might even see them get rid of cross-dressing Cloud.
I think they're going to get rid of most of that and keep it to this ultra-serious game that it never was.
Well,
it's going to be sad.
Yeah.
My take on it is like the original version is, I still like it. Like I don't know. I don't think I have a favorite Final Fantasy.
Get off the show.
But
you say Final Fantasy 10 too.
Yeah.
I don't. I honestly, like, if I had to choose one, I might choose one of the tactics or 8. But Final Fantasy VII, I absolutely adored when it was out, and I played through. I've only beaten it once, but I've almost beaten it at least 4 or 5 times. I just there's something on that third disc where it just
you get to the crater and it's just like, yeah, I could do this other stuff though.
But I guess my attitude is, when you think of an HD remake, like, or when you think of like a completely new remake, like, do you really want like updated chibi sprites because they are gonna kind of look similar to what the original was,
Right.
Or do you want a completely different game? Because the original is still going to be available to play, and they're obviously going to be releasing it with trophies and things.
And
like
with
that.
every platform that comes out, they will come out with another classic Final Fantasy VII.
Exactly. And I don't know. I'm excited to see what they change. I loved Advent Children. I know some people hated that movie.
I like Advent Children, yeah.
And honestly, here's the other part. They put that limit break from Advent Children into Final Fantasy VII Remake, and like, that's half of what I want.
Sold. Yeah, I'm gonna be very curious to see. I'm assuming that they're gonna keep the art style consistent throughout the whole game, because I feel like when you go back to classic Final Fantasy VII, because of the technology, it made sense to have the chibi ones and the bigger ones and the CG ones. Because of the technology, it made sense to kind of have all this disparate stuff. I'm assuming that they'll keep all that stuff pretty consistent, but in that, how do you balance all the weird stuff with all the serious Sephiroth killed everybody in a city again? Wah, wah. I don't know how they'll balance that. And I think that's going to be the thing that I'm going to be really interested in.
I'm also interested. I doubt they will address it, but I wonder if they'll address the why Cloud can't use a Phoenix on Aerith or Eris, or
they'll just take Phoenix Downs out. Well, and that's actually an excellent point. Are they Are they finally going to put this to bed and call her Aerith for real in this game, so everybody can just shut the hell up about it? That's her name, everybody. It's a TH at the end. It has been Aerith in every other game that has had her in it, including Kingdom Hearts.
It makes sense because they, in Japanese anyways, they wanted it to sound like Earth.
Right.
So Aerith makes sense. Just like Terra.
Jay-Z in chat says they'll change the name to Aerith Down.
Aerith Down. Aerith Down.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm curious. I wonder what it's going to be hard for them to balance everybody's favorite JRPG. That's basically what Final Fantasy VII is. How do you modernize it while still keeping the core that people really love, and kind of not trampling it like a little bit of Crisis Core did? Crisis Core treated Final Fantasy VII really well, but there was some extra stuff in there that was sort of like, I don't know if I care about this.
That's kind of my other question about it is, do they add like a chunk of Crisis Core and Advent Children to the beginning and end of this game too?
I would not expect them to. I would almost expect them to... No, because I feel like they all tied together pretty well.
I mean, well, and they have that flashback scene already in Final Fantasy VII.
That's true, yeah.
I don't know. If nothing else, part of me really hopes that they do an HD
Final Fantasy 12, me too.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. But no, I just mean like they include like Crisis Core and Advent Children with like Final Fantasy VII in some crazy package.
Sure, yeah, I don't know. Magnatech says, will they change the seam to have him panic and try/fail to use it? They did that in Final Fantasy Tactics. That was really funny. I don't know if anybody saw that. It's way deep into Final Fantasy Tactics, but you have to get Cloud, and you have to do a whole bunch of extra side stuff with another character, and then one character accidentally knocks out another one, and they try and use all of that healing stuff, and none of it works. And it's pretty great.
The other thing I wonder if they do is is make that fan rumor true of, oh, hey, guess what? You can make it so that Tifa dies instead of Aerith.
Oh, right. You know, the thing that I'm actually interested in is outfits for characters. Tifa's original design has problems. Let's put it nicely. And Tifa's Advent Children design doesn't have those problems. I'd be curious to see if they make those more consistent, or, you know...
Honestly, I think Tifa's design will be fixed, period. Just, like, even if you took her original design and then made it realistic with, we'll say, the body proportions of Advent Children, I think...
Right. That was funny. Sorry.
Did I cross the line, Mina? I'm sorry.
No, you just struck me funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's the same. You know, it's not the same Final Fantasy VII from 15 years ago. You know, it's not the same game market from 15 years ago. So how do you address a lot of this stuff? I know a lot of the things with Barrett can be addressed due to that being a poor translation.
Wow, yeah.
But, you know, when you look at Tifa, when you look at some of the weird stuff, like, it's just, I'm curious more than anything else.
I was never an Aerith fan, honestly. She was always a weird character to me.
Yeah.
So, but I will tell you, one chibi thing they can't get away from is Kate Sith.
That somebody brought up that point, is like, how are you gonna do Red 13 and Kate Sith? And someone's like, well, you just take the Moogle out from Kate Sith. And it's like, okay, you can't do that for story reasons. And also, that's kind of... I know Kate Sith is the robot cat on top of a robot Moogle, but... how are you... That's all... This game is weird!
And will Vincent still have his elf boots?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what he looked like in Advent Children. I think he was still pretty similar, but...
And man, I gotta tell you, I hope they still get Cowboy Bebop guy to voice act him, because I thought he did a real good job.
Oh yeah, Steve Bloom did voice act him. That's right. And here's another thing: voice acting. That's gonna be crazy.
Hopefully they don't. Who did they have voice act Cloud in Kingdom Hearts? It was Timberlake, wasn't it? Or someone weird like that. It was someone from NSYNC, wasn't it?
Hold on, I'm gonna look at it. I think it was Lance Bass.
Okay. Cloud would be the weirdest one for me, for them to voice act.
It'll be weird.
Oh no, it's Steve Burton. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, completely wrong. I don't know who that is.
He's been on a lot of TV shows. I thought he was really good at Cloud.
Maybe it was Sephiroth. Maybe Sephiroth was.
Sephiroth was Lance Bass in the first one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Who was fine. He did a good job.
Yeah. No, they did a good job. I just.
It's just a little odd. Yeah.
I don't. My big question is, will it have near the amount of content as the original? Which I suspect it won't.
Yeah, I mean, how much money and time would it? Bless you. Would it cost to make all of those assets? I mean, that game is big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gotta at least put the Chocobo racing in.
God, I just got that Gold Saucer song stuck in my head. Thank you very much. You monster.
I could talk about this for the next hour, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could.
All right, well, let's move on to non-Final Fantasy VII Remake games at E3. Fallout 4. Bethesda showed a lot about that game, and it's coming out later this year. Fallout 4 looks awesome. So excited. I'm just happy to see VATS is back. I was worried that they would pull that out.
They hired that Halo designer. I thought that's probably what they were up to with that. But if it's coming out this year and they hired him this last year, then obviously he didn't join the team in time for that. But
yeah, didn't join the team in time to pull out VATS. I
have a lot of feelings about Fallout 4. Like, I am excited. I will be buying it on day one. I don't know if I'll pre-order it because I don't, you heard me earlier, I don't want any physical goods.
I broke down. I pre-ordered that Pip-Boy edition. I can't. I really like when a collector's edition comes with like a figure or a standee or something. I don't really care about that. I don't have a place to put all that stuff. But you can tell me I can put a phone inside of this thing and then put it on my wrist. I will try it long enough for someone to make fun of me. And then I'll say, no, I was just trying it. I haven't played 40 hours with it on there or anything.
Okay, I guess I'll be the Debbie Downer. So the worst DLC for Skyrim, and by worst I mean the glitchiest, the DLC that broke everyone's game, was their Hearth Home or whatever it was called, the homemaking DLC. Yeah. And they have gone way over the top with that in Fallout 4, which
they double down on that.
on one hand excites me, on the other hand it scares me because I remember how glitchy the Skyrim one was.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised that, they showed that, and thankfully the thing that saved me was like, oh, it's totally optional, you don't even have to do it. And I was like, whew, all right, I'm good. That's like, it's oddly, that seems like the thing that is built for me in an RPG. As soon as they started showing that, I'm like, nope, don't want to do it.
The home defense is what scares me because I hate.
Yeah.
I do not like tower defense games, but I love. Like my favorite thing in any of the Bethesda games is to own property and own houses.
Right.
Did you guys get that little mobile Fallout game?
Shelter?
Fallout Shelter?
Yeah, I've been playing.
Have you been playing the poops out of that?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh God, help me! I can't stop.
Yeah.
I downloaded it and then never tried it.
Don't. You'll get sucked in. It is
save yourself.
A time waster.
Yeah, I think I think two things made me really excited for Fallout 4. One is it's coming out this year. Two is there's a helicopter right above my house. And third thing, just circling around. Third thing is that VATS is back, because I'm really happy that there's first person mode, there's third person mode. You can play as a man or a woman. You can the shooting is much better in first person. You can shoot in third person. I just kind of like playing Fallout in this really deliberate, like, I want to line up all my shots with VATS. I want to see it do that thump, thump, thump noise, and then I want to blow the thorax off of some rad roaches and then keep moving on. I'm glad it's still Fallout.
I like the weapon creating stuff too.
Oh God, I forgot about that. I'm gonna spend so much time doing that.
I mean, that's going to be our whole podcast at the end of November, or at the beginning of December.
If Vagrant Story didn't pull me in enough, this thing is just gonna.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm just excited to have another Bethesda world to explore, and I don't get the people who think the graphics look terrible.
I really hate that argument that people keep having about how, like, oh, the graphics look so bad. It's like, it doesn't look that bad. Also, this looks like in-game engine to me, so I'm pretty happy because this looks in-game.
Yeah, they actually released a trailer in the engine, which we don't get.
I'm like, that looks great. I don't know what you're talking about. You're smoking something.
Yeah.
Just think about the new radio station we get that's going to have, like, the old-timey classic music on it, and...
Musum, you brought up a really good point about Fallout 3 and Skyrim. The one thing that I hope they do is that they learn from their mistakes from both of those games, and if they're going to put out DLC, which I think it's safe to assume that they will, that they plan for it really, really early, and the game is built to handle that. We don't want another Skyrim on PS3 incident, where it's just like, you installed the DLC or you got too far in the game, now it doesn't work. Sorry.
Hopefully, because they're under the what is it, the x86 architecture or x64 architecture, that they won't have those issues anymore. They're just programming for PC-like platforms all around. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah, the weirdest rumor I heard about the game, and allegedly it's not a rumor, but I haven't seen the article, is that they took skills out of the game.
That would be weird.
That would be weird.
there's only allegedly perks. So
it could maybe work, but weird. I don't know.
I don't like. On the one hand, okay, I guess that's nice because that means I can use any weapon anytime, and I don't have to worry about all these negatives. But
yeah, maybe they replace that with the weapon crafting system.
Yeah,
interesting.
I just hope they don't chop out too much of the RPG mechanics out of it. But
yeah. Next news story here: Fire Emblem If confirmed for North America. Now will be called Fire Emblem Fates. It looks like they're bringing both out in North America, which is genuinely surprising. I thought they would have mushed them into one, or, you know, put two in one case or something. I don't. It's gonna be interesting to see how they market that. There's a new Nier game in development, which is shocking enough. Also, Platinum Games is helping make it, which is just.
I think they're the only developer in Japan anymore.
You know, they very well maybe, but they're really great, so I'm okay with that. I'm genuinely surprised we're getting a new Nier game. I thought that would be one of those games where it's just like, all right, that one was great, but too good to ever get another one of those. So, hope you enjoyed it. I don't know. Very curious to see what that one is. Mario and Luigi Paper Jam was announced. They're sort of smushing together Paper Mario and the Mario and Luigi games into one kind of hybrid chimera. I don't know too much about the Mario RPG games because I didn't keep up with them, and now I'm like 12 games behind. Apparently it's made by the good studio and not the bad studio. So
oh my gosh,
people are excited.
What was your last Paper Mario?
Super Mario RPG on the Super NES. I've never played any of the other ones. Sorry, Mina. I know
they're genuinely good. Like of the Mario games, like I don't play many of them, but I do love those Mario games.
I think I own Thousand Year Door.
Oh my god!
I know. I haven't played Earthbound. I should probably play that first.
God.
I know, I'm just twisting the knife over here. The other GZ asked in chat here for a middle of E3 question. I forget if you guys have mentioned this, but have any of you played You Must Build a Boat? It's the successor to 10 Million. It's been my go-to mobile game for like 2 months. I haven't yet. I loved 10 Million. And this is the same developer that basically made the same thing but bigger. I don't know if either one of you have been playing it.
I have not.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get on that. I'm pretty excited about that. Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel was shown off, which I think is the sequel to the first one. If not, then it's the spin-off one. I don't know. I'm just happy we're getting more of these in the US, so can't go wrong there. They showed off Destiny: The Taken King, and by showed off I mean they put out a short trailer and announced the price, angering everybody. And then the interview happened, which
oh gosh, yeah,
we won't talk about. The appropriate parties have already apologized. So looks like more Destiny. We don't know how much, but it's $40 and £40, which is unfortunate. Dark Souls 3 was announced. Sort of the worst kept secret going up to the show. I don't know too much about that. I saw the trailer, but I don't know if you guys have seen anything else that came out of that.
I don't think they showed much from it. I can't keep up with the rest of them.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah.
I think the real strength of From Software right now is they can just say the words Dark Souls, and people will be like, okay, cool. Whatever you got, I know what that is. I'm ready for more. Etrian Odyssey 2 Untold, the Fafnir Night, was shown off too. This is, I thought this had already come out in North America. I guess I was wrong. This is their remaster / retelling of Etrian Odyssey 2. Etrian Odyssey 2, or Etrian Odyssey Untold, the Millennium something was the one that came out earlier. Kind of interesting. They have, it seems like they're sticking with the story, the same thing where you have a classic mode, which is just Etrian Odyssey. It just looks better. And then you kind of have the Untold side, which is a single-player, story-focused installation of it, which Excuse me. It's pretty interesting. Eidos showed off Deus Ex Mankind Divided, which looks super cool.
Yeah.
I should probably play the first one at some point.
First one's pretty, but like on this one, they're developing the boss fights too. So
Nice.
you know, to a degree, it may not even matter.
Well, they fixed the boss fights in the first one with the director's cut anyway, so.
Yeah, I don't remember what ending they chose from the first one, but I don't know that it matters too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
They, I don't know. I'm excited. I wish they would hurry up and. Well, actually, I guess they sent me a survey asking me what I'd want in the collector's version, and some of the options were great, and some of them were terrible. So.
Oh
we'll see.
yeah. At least they were sort of throwing it out there, where it's like a T-shirt, and it's like no, I don't want a T-shirt.
Yeah, I don't need a little stand of what's his name.
Yeah.
Replica weapon, maybe.
You want to give me his glasses though? All right, now we're talking.
I could do that.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be sweet.
Ubisoft showed off South Park: The Fractured But Whole, which is their the sequel to The Stick of Truth, where last time it was fantasy, this time it is South Park's version of superheroes. Sadly, Obsidian is not developing this one. It looks like it is a South Park Studios in-house joint, which will be interesting.
It's okay. I thought an Ubisoft studio was making it.
Maybe. I don't know. It's not Obsidian, I know that for sure, and that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, and I've heard it's not. What I heard on that was just that Obsidian's too busy with their own stuff. They couldn't take on another project.
Which is kind of a nice problem to have for Obsidian, because over the last decade or so, it's sort of like, what's Obsidian working on? And they're like, well, we're keeping busy. Don't worry about us. What are you guys doing? So now, thankfully, they're just like, yeah, we got all these successful Kickstarters. Like, we're making great stuff. Sorry. The Division was shown off a little bit, which I sort of watched those trailers, and I'm still not 100% sure what that game is.
I remember seeing it and having that same sort of feeling where I'm just like, what is this game and what's going down?
Yeah.
I think it's going to wind up being a lot like Destiny, except with backstabbing.
Okay, so the last thing Destiny needed.
Yeah. So, because the gameplay thing they saw, they were like, okay, we're going to choose this sector and this mission, and then it loads in, right? And they have their 3-man team, and there are 2 other 3-man teams in the area, and they're, verbally role-playing what they're doing.
Man, Ubisoft has to stop that with their gameplay, where it's like, okay, now we're going to go over here, and now you're going to go over there. It's like, nobody's doing that. When people play games, they're like, oh, how's work doing? And we're like talking about football and the weather, and it's like, oh, I killed that dude. Oh, good shot. And then we're going back to talking about movies.
Yeah. Like, it was just weird, because at the end of the thing, too, they did that whole betrayal thing, where it's like, okay, we beat all the other teams, and now one of our friends just killed us all to keep all the loot.
Great. That sounds like a nightmare for online games. Pretty
much. That would end a real life friendship, I think, to some degree.
Yeah, and for me, as someone who isn't always crazy about playing a lot of games online, I hope they explain that at some point, because that makes me not want to buy the game.
Yeah.
Well, and I put too much time into Destiny, and the last thing I want to do is jump on board another Destiny.
Right.
So that's kind of my attitude towards the Division at the moment, even though I have quite a few real-life friends who want to get it and play it.
There's a lot of people excited about the Division.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'll have to see more. I don't want another Destiny.
Yeah, I already got one. I've put a couple 100 hours into that one. I'll get in. You want to bring me Destiny 2? All right, I want another Destiny at that point, but who knows?
Yeah.
Square showed off Kingdom Hearts 3, which looks really good. I think the only real thing they announced was they're going to have a Tangled world, which is great, because Tangled is a really great movie. I just want that game in my hands.
Can I just have it now? That game has taken longer than the last Persona game. That is saying something.
Sadly, that's a fantastic point. It's almost going to take as long as Final Fantasy XII did at this point.
Oh,
Yeah, I know a lot of people are still sort of like, oh, Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are both really great games. You start veering off that path, 50-50, you know?
Yeah, I haven't played any of the other ones, so when someone said, oh, well, this one came out, I didn't play that one.
Yeah.
The second one I played. I want the third one.
Yeah, I just want the third of 3.
Give me the third one.
Yeah.
So, okay, Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in 2005, according to Wikipedia.
Yes.
So that means if they announced Kingdom Hearts 3 in 2006, it has been 9 years.
It came out 2 PlayStations ago. Let's put it that way. 2 generations.
2 whole PlayStations.
We're on Generation 8. It came out on 6. So it's been a while. And, you know, a lot of the other Kingdom Hearts games have been really good. But they never really have the same production value that, like, 1 and 2 have had. You know, Birth by Sleep came pretty close, but you look at Kingdom Hearts 3 and you're like, okay, that's... You got a couple hundred people working on that thing. Like, that's a
just
game.
all I want.
Yeah. Just put it in these hands. Yeah, so unfortunately no release date. So someday they will just have, you know, a screenshot on their Twitter account where it's like, "Oh, it's coming out next week." You know, like Square does. But hopefully soon.
I need it.
Yep. Yeah. Coming back around to Pillars of Eternity, they announced the White March, their first expansion, which I think part 1 of the expansion comes out this year.
Yeah, I think it comes out in the next month or 2. I don't think they have an official release date, but I know they're
pretty soon.
They're pretty close to done on it. They've announced, I think, 2 of the new companions you'll get. One's a monk, one's a rogue.
Nice.
The rogue is interesting because they have this metal mask thing on, which is kind of crazy looking. The new level cap is 14, if I remember correctly, which is only...
I think I heard that, yeah.
2 levels higher. And other than that, I know next to nothing about it because I haven't beaten the game and I don't want to know.
Fair enough. Atlas showed off a trailer for a game that has massively changed since it was announced. Gene Ibn Roku, #FE, is Fire Emblem Cross Shin Megami Tensei. It is now this modern-day demon-fusing pop star idol dating sim?
I don't know what it is. I just want it.
I don't know what it is, but it's one of those things, you know, like everybody's like, this looks weird and dumb. It's like, okay, the thing you have to understand about Atlas games is the dumber and the crazier it looks, the better it's going to be. So this thing looks like a fever dream, and it's going to be amazing.
That is, like, the summons are allegedly like Fire Emblem characters or something like that.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of what Crom looks like, and did you guys ever play .hack GU?
No.
Oh, dang it. Okay, somebody out there who is listening to this podcast is probably nodding their head right now. The whole .hack kite character that comes back as Triage or looks like Triage or whatever, that is the same thing I'm seeing with Crom and his what Crom looks like in this Fire Emblem SMT crossover whatever thing. It looks really weird, and I want to know why Crom looks like that because I'm getting a Tri-Edge feel, and it's sketching me out.
Yeah, I you know, I put a lot of faith in Atlas because they really haven't ever done me wrong. Unless sometimes Atlas will come out with games where it's like, okay, you're paying the bills with this one, but you know, a lot of the mainline stuff is usually pretty good. So I have high expectations for that one to at least be weird, if not be weird and good. EA showed off a trailer for Mass Effect Andromeda, which has led me to laugh a lot about people saying, like, yeah, but what galaxy is it going to be in? They say it's going to be in a new galaxy. And it's like, I won't ruin it for you. That looks great. It looks like more Mass Effect, and I would like that in my life.
I like that they took a fun angle to the trailer.
Yes.
Because to me, that means they're communicating to us that they're not going to do the dark and horrible atmosphere of 3, and they're going to do something fun and exciting and exploratory.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and that way they can really darken it up for Andromeda 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just still excited for Mass Effect. I think those are cool games. I'm excited to go back into space.
Every time I think about Mass Effect, I almost go and turn 3 back on.
Yeah,
And
my wife and I have been talking about doing like a co-op stream of that because she's never played them. And we're talking about me playing them and her making all the decisions, and we live stream it. That could be interesting.
I've heard they ditched off their HD remakes.
Yeah, someone asked EA about that a couple months ago, and they're like, "Hey, when are we seeing the trilogy out on like PS4 and Xbox One?" And they're like, "Never." It's like, okay, never mind. Yeah, for some reason they're not interested in doing that, which I thought would have been an obvious shoe-in, but
I just kind of expected it to release along with Mass Effect Andromeda, to be honest.
Yeah,
with
like
you.
one disc, all games, all DLC. You know,
I'm pretty sure I've actually heard people at BioWare talk like, "Hey, what would you want make of one?" and things like this. And,
right.
like there have been Twitter discussions with them where they're actually kind of looking for fan input, so that I know they considered it.
Yeah, I think EA just shut it down for some reason. Weird. And last but certainly not least, Nintendo had their World Championship during some of the pre-E3 stuff, and they announced Earthbound Beginnings, which is Mother 1. They're translating it and put it out on the Wii U, and it was up then. Like, they were just, it's in stores now! So, you can go play the first Mother game right now. It's only like $5. So, you should probably do that. I hear it's pretty tough, but I hear it's pretty good. So, I haven't played it yet, but someday.
To me, this is kind of groundbreaking in the sense that, 20 years later, never would have expected, if you had said, hey, they're going to put Mother out on for people to buy.
Yeah.
20 years later.
I would have not taken that bet.
I wouldn't have thought so. So maybe, 20 years from now, I could have Mother 3.
Maybe.
I just have to wait. 40-year anniversary. I can wait that long.
I just bought a cartridge of that from Japan on eBay the other day. Because I was like, you know what? I'd like to play it. I legally own a copy of Earthbound now on my Wii U, so I can play it there. I'd like to play the fan translation of Mother 3, but I have a problem if I don't own the game, unless it's impossible to find, like Panzer Dragoon Saga or something.
Right.
I'd like to own a copy of it before I play it. So now I can play Mother 3 after I play Earthbound.
You have to play Earthbound first.
What's so funny is, like,
Wired.
I've heard a little bit about characters that come back in Mother 3 from Earthbound, or things that happen in Mother 3 because of things that happen in Earthbound. But so many people are like, oh, you don't need to play Earthbound first. And it's like, not from what I've heard. You don't have to.
I disagree. I disagree in the sense that you will just... I think Mother 3 is actually the better game between the two. I will say that, but I will also say that Mother 3 is also really amazing because of what Earthbound did first. Yeah. So I feel like if you play Mother 3 before you play Earthbound, you're doing a disservice to that.
You're
first
like reverse spoiling.
It's like, it just... And I mean... I know Earthbound feels like this very, very long experience, but it's actually pretty quick. You can knock it out real easily. It's just, and it's fun.
Also, it's supposed to be a good game, so why would you not want to play a good game?
Dumb fun. And the two games are different on an emotional level as well. When you play Earthbound, you'll get this feeling of basically like 4 kids going out on an adventure, and their journey, and it's like, oh, these little kids just traveling the world doing supernatural stuff. Whereas when you pick up Mother 3, you will have an entirely different feeling in that game. Entirely different. Musum, have you played both? I know you played.
I played Earthbound 0. I guess that's the one they released here.
That's Beginnings,
I won't mention how I played it, but I only played like the first part of it, and I don't know. It was pretty old.
I hear that. I'm glad they released it, but it sounds like that game is pretty old.
It's it's pretty old, and the creator himself said that, Mother was just his first stab at trying to make a game. Earthbound is basically Mother, or Mother 2 was basically Mother, but really, really more focused in, and they understood how to actually develop exactly what he wanted. So he always felt that Mother 2 was the true experience that he wanted to present to people. Like, this was his vision finally met the actual format where everybody could play it. So yeah. I mean, it's not bad that people didn't play Mother, and I could understand why somebody would start playing and go, nope, this is really hard.
No, I'm good.
Because back then, that's the day of Dragon Warrior or
like Final Fantasy 1.
Real hard games where it was just like the game didn't tell you how to play at all. You died because you took two steps away from.
Well, here in a few months, when I can afford a Wii, a Wii U, I will absolutely buy Mother.
There you go.
Attempt it again.
And Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, because that game is really good. All right, so that's E3. A lot of RPGs. That's a really good RPG E3. So let's move on to news stories about all the other stuff that's going on. Tales of Zestiria officially confirmed for PS4 and PC. Looks like North America and looks like none of the other territories are going to get the PS3 version, which is not surprising. Also, so there's like two stories that are happening at the same time and sort of smushed together. So Tales of Symphonia HD is also going to be coming to PC, which is unfortunately a HD port of the PS3 version. So hopefully they fix that version when it comes to the PC, because I haven't played Tales of Symphonia, and I'm not going to pick it up on PS3 because they messed it up. And at the same time, they have a pre-order stretch goal on Steam for Tales of Zestiria, that if enough people pre-order that on Steam, you get Tales of Symphonia HD for free on Steam. Whew. So,
I actually want to see how close they are on that, because I've already
I looked at it earlier, and it was pretty far away.
Yeah, it's like their third stretch goal, and they're
it is
halfway through their second one, just about.
Yeah, something like that.
And their first and second ones look like costumes or something like that, which...
Yeah, like costumes and weapons and stuff.
I will say, though, for $50, like, if they actually do unlock that third stretch goal, that's a good value.
Yeah.
It is.
Certainly, yeah. And
I mean, until you consider that within a year later, you'll be able to pick it up on a Steam sale for
Sure, yeah.
But
right?
And Tales of Symphonia is supposed to be really good. I never got around to playing it.
It is one of the best Tales games in terms of story, characters, gameplay. It was definitely one of the ones that actually caught people's attention. It was a lot of people's first Tales game.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why there's so much hype about it. The second game.
I need to see if my GameCube copy sells for any on eBay.
I think it's fairly rare. Yeah.
I'm a bad person. I played through a chunk of that game with my friend, just doing a second player thing, and I enjoyed Tales of Symphonia.
I kind of like all the Tales games.
Yeah.
I really wish the PS3 version wasn't totally broken. Otherwise, I probably would have picked that up and played it there. Our next news story: The Bard's Tale 4. If you have backed it as part of the Kickstarter, they'll just toss you copies of the original trilogy.
So something crazy that I didn't know is evidently Bard's Tale 3 is auto mapping, which I never made it to Bard's Tale 3. I always quit somewhere in Bard's Tale 2, but
yeah,
that's appealing.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to, because that a lot of the problems with these, with some of these companies revisiting some of these older games is sort of like, okay, so how do I play games that came out in the 80s that aren't on good old games? And the answer is sort of like, well, you don't. Enjoy Bard's Tale 4.
Yeah, well, and they added, it's funny actually, one of the tiers is the forgiveness letter. Like,
oh yeah,
you get a digital copy. Like it's here. I found it. It's the $30 tier called the Guilt Absolution, and it says, "Have you landed your ship in the Pirates Bay before? No worries, friend. If you've previously plundered from us, pick this reward tier for a digital copy of Bard's Tale 4. Blah 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 blah, and an official forgiveness letter from our CEO Brian Fargo."
That's pretty great. I like that.
Yeah, I thought that was clever.
Next news story here. Chris Avellone has left Obsidian Entertainment. Kind of surprising. I don't know where he went. This is a news story from almost exactly a month ago, and I don't know where he wandered off to.
He hasn't said yet, and chances are he's under a no-compete clause, so it's probably going to be a half year before we find out.
Yeah, he's taking a couple months off.
And, like, I don't know. The places I would like to see him wind up the most is either in Exile or Bethesda, but I don't.
Yeah, those both, based on his Twitter account, he's playing a lot of Fallout Shelter and making whiteboard drawings about it. Should go check that out. Yeah, it sort of seems like those would be the natural landing points for him, depending on how much he wants to continue to kind of do the same RPG-focused thing.
Yeah, I don't... Like he said, he wants to continue doing video games. He doesn't see anything in this future without video games. But none of these people ever go where I want them to, so my predictions are terrible on this front.
Yeah, he's just going to pop up at BioWare, and it's like, oh, well...
I'd be okay with that.
Surprising, but good.
As long as he doesn't go to Valve like the Saints Row writer did.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you're never going to make another game again. What are you doing?
I'll never see you.
It's nice knowing you. All right, next news story here. We're an RPG-focused show. But every once in a while we talk about visual novels because they don't get a lot of love, and we all love them. Let's just get right to the point. There's a third Zero Escape game coming out, summer 2016, Vita and 3DS. They're finishing the trilogy. Oh my god.
I need this.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
I need this.
So, this is my time to remind everybody, if you haven't played 999 and Virtue's Last Reward, please, in the name of baby Jesus, go play both of them. They're amazing.
And play them in order.
And play them in order, and get all of the endings for both of them. It does not take that long, I promise. 999 is fantastic. Virtue's Last Reward is a little bit less good, but it's still really great. After the ending of Virtue's Last Reward, I'm so excited that they're going to make another game. I have questions that I need answered. So, and unfortunately, and fortunately, that's all we know. And I'm expecting until this game comes out, that will be all we know. Because with the amount of things that they could spoil from those first two games by showing stuff off from this third one, I will probably be okay knowing that this is all I know about this game for about a year. So, and also, if you're going to play 999, don't play the iOS version. They took out the puzzles in that game. And that game needs its puzzles for reasons that I will not spoil. So, it's really easy to find on DS. And then Virtue's Last Reward, that's just a downloadable one. You should play it on Vita, it's great. Next story, King's Quest, Episode 1, Priced and Dated, coming out, it's called A Night to Remember, coming out on July 28th for, of course, I'm on Rock, Paper, Shotgun, so it's £8. Let me Google 8 GBP, because I don't know how much that is, and I cannot find out. It's, let's say $15. It's pretty reasonable. So, very excited to see what they're gonna do with King's Quest. I'm not sure enough people remember King's Quest nowadays, so I'm kind of curious to see how they're gonna revitalize that.
I probably still have my original copies of 1 through 6.
That's impressive.
I don't think I have the boxes, but I have the discs and the manuals.
I mean, boxes from a game that's 30 years old now is hard to keep around, but
Especially those old ones, man. They were
the big
2 feet tall by
Yeah.
1.5 feet.
Oh man, those were the days. Keep it down out there, birds. Next news story: Steins Gate, talking about another critically acclaimed visual novel. It's coming out on the Vita in the U.S. I think maybe the PS3 as well. It is, yes. This is really weird. So, it has been out in Europe for a while. The PS3 and the Vita version. It is reasonably priced. You can probably get it for about $50 US for the Vita version. A little bit cheaper for the PS3 version. And they're region free. So most people have imported them already. I haven't yet because I don't have the scratch for it at the moment. But Rice Digital is the company that's been fulfilling orders in Europe. They're also fulfilling orders for the US version, which costs about the same amount of money. So I'm kind of curious why they're doing it, but if you really want to buy a copy of the game that has an ESRB sticker on the front instead of a PEGI sticker, you can. I don't know. But I gotta play that game because everybody that plays it loves it, and I love visual novels. So
the artwork for it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking through it and I'm wondering, gosh, man, that's a good looking visual novel.
Yeah, it's a story about time travel. Excited, and science. I like all those things. All right, I'm starting to get loopy here, so let's wrap up this last couple news stories here. Square says they're working on a new Final Fantasy adventure game, which is a sequel to a game that came out on the Game Boy, the original one. So this is another mana game, kind of in that same vein. Final Fantasy Adventure was kind of the first mana game. They remade that on Game Boy Advance, if I remember correctly. So I don't know what they're doing there. Very weird. Disgaea 5 come out in North America and Europe in October. Is there a specific date? October 6th. So maybe it's time to get back into Disgaea. Disgaea's really good. I think the last one I played was 2. So maybe it's time. And last news story, a genuine shock. GameStop has opened up sales on their website for retro classic games, as they're calling it. So this is games all the way back to the NES. I was ready to be upset about it because GameStop. The prices are genuinely reasonable. You can get a copy of Final Fantasy III for the Super NES for about $50. Those are pretty reasonable prices for a loose cartridge of that game. So if you're sort of looking to fill your JRPG coffers with cartridges and GD-ROMs, that's a pretty good place to go pick them up. If you just go to GameStop and there's like this big retro classics banner at the top. We don't have any emails or tweets this month. The other Jay-Z was kind enough to ask us a question about You Must Build a Boat. We've been recording for a really long time, so we're just gonna wrap this up because we actually didn't have 2 hours at the front, 15 minutes in the middle, so it's a little weird.
Yeah.
If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at pickingupthepixels.com. Email us fans@pickingupthepixels.com or tweet us pickingupPixels, no the in there. Mina, where can we find you? You got muted somehow. There we go.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You can find me on YouTube, Minako Rocket. You can find me on Hitbox at Risette, Risette, and also on Twitch, Minako Rocket again. And also check out the forums as well.
Yes, twitch.tv/forum or forums? Forum, I think it is. Just go to Pick Up the Pixels. There's a link on there. Musim, where can we find you?
Musum.bandcamp.com. Find me on Twitter, whatever that is. And
it's just John Musum, I believe.
Buy my music on the Apple iTunes Store and listen to me on Spotify.
Yes, all of those great things.
Please.
And you can find this show and other shows e1m1.com. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Thank you to both of you for joining me yet again.
Pleasure as always.
Thank you.
And our adventure continues next month. Bye. All right, that's it for our episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and thank you for listening. The birds outside and I always appreciate it. So, see you guys next month.